distract. There's endless amounts of things that you can do with your time.
Mhm.
There's a limitless amount of opportunities, right? But this
Shameless plug. In theory, there are a limitless amount of options in all 360 around you
to do with your life and time.
Oh my God. I'm not going to mention that. I just noticed that.
Are you serious? You never.
I never saw the L and T.
What?
You're a creative dude.
You are a creative dude. Wow.
I'm sold. You got stock options? I want to invest.
What's up, y'all? We're back. Another LT360 podcast. This is the first of its kind. I've never had someone in this position with me doing it right here. So this is going to be fun. You guys know who this guy is. And if you don't, his name's Josh Matthews. He's a fit pro. He's the guy that gets me to the gym on Sunday mornings and squatting things that I wouldn't do on my own. And he is an aspiring paramedic and firefighter. Works at Lululemon, works at Gravity and Oxygen, teaches classes, personal trainer, fit pro, former employee of anything and everything you can think of, and the hairstylist of the gym for sure. So we're here, and it's funny because we were like, what are we going to talk about today? And we had no idea, no clue.
Kind of still don't know what we're going to talk about, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, but it's cool. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we finally sat down.
I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be featured on the LT360.
Thank you, bro. It's kind of funny, like, how we just ended up working out all the time together, just like randomly.
Yeah, it's like, as you kind of came into the gym as I was leaving, so we didn't get to spend a lot of time together.
Yeah.
But then as I came back in, I feel like the best way to get to know someone is working out with them. And then it's accountability is a huge thing. It's like
the biggest.
Because if I knew I was going to come to the gym on Sunday morning at 7:30 by myself, I would not make it 90% of the time. I'm pretty sure whenever you tell me you're not coming on Sunday, I don't go.
Yeah.
So, but if I know that I'm like, hey, Dylan's going to be there, I got to be there because I don't want you waiting on me or looking for me when I don't show up. So it's a big motivation to have a partner when you're working out. Know someone that you know is going to be there waiting and looking for you, whether it's 7 a.m., whether it's 5 a.m., whatever it is.
Yeah, no, dude, if you know what I did yesterday, bro, if I didn't know I had to be there to work out with you this morning, I was not making it. That's 100%. And I think a big part of just in general staying healthy doesn't always come down to necessarily just what you're doing, but who you're putting yourself around and who you're trying to hold yourself accountable with, for sure.
And then just to backtrack, so there's no question when Dylan says, like, I know what he did yesterday. For those who don't know what he did yesterday, he probably had about 6 to 7 hours of activity, whether playing basketball, coaching fitness classes, had his own workout and everything in between. So he had a pretty strenuous day, but still made it into the gym this morning at 7:30
And then I managed to squat weight that I haven't touched in years. So
almost hit a new max on his back squat even after that.
Yeah, and I have, like I said, if you're not there, I'm not making it. And I was late this morning too, but like, at least I got there, right?
So some movement's better than no movement.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's for me, dude, and you weren't always like an athlete, right?
No,
so for me,
never an athlete.
It's become so much more of a mental piece for me, like just staying fit, staying active, moving in general, and especially like I've been playing basketball a lot more. It's helped me so much here more than anything, and I don't think people understand the full ramifications of not working out or not being fit or not being active day to day.
No, and then I can completely agree with that. And some people can't justify the time it takes. Someone thinks it's a huge investment to being fit, but if you really people that are unfit that get fit, they understand because your quality of life and everything that you do day to day is so much easier when you are active versus when you're not active. But people that don't take the time to be active don't realize that, you know. So whether it's like, oh, and you need to have some internal and external motivations, but you know, if you have kids and you want to be active and play with your kids, or you know, if you live in a place that has stairs and you feel like you're getting winded going up and down the stairs, and you start to take, you know, like when starting activities have to become a thought, you're like, oh, I have to take the stairs because someone went in the elevator. You're like, oh, I have to think about going up the stairs rather than it just being automatic. You know?
If your day-to-day activities become difficult, like you have to understand why that's happening. But I think the easiest way to put it is like an object in motion stays in motion.
Exactly.
An object that stops. It's so much harder for me to find motivation when I sit on the couch. It's so much easier to continue watching a movie for 2.5 hours once I sit down and put a movie on. It's so there's from a mental standpoint, there's so much pull in either direction.
Exactly. And that's kind of like when people are trying to find motivation to go to the gym after work. If you pack your bag and you go from work straight to the gym, you're way more likely to get to the gym rather than, okay, I have to go home, get clothes. Because you go home, you're like, let me sit down for a second. And once you sit down, you take so much more force to get you moving again. So, you know.
I mean, even like we spend, 15-20 minutes just kind of like moving around, tiptoeing, not really doing anything crazy, and we don't spend a serious amount of time like killing ourselves.
No,
you know,
and everything's intentional. Or some people think, you know, as being fitness professionals that we have these crazy, insane workouts, which, you know, it's kind of just body movement. You know, we add some load on ourselves, but we spend a good amount of time loosening up, making sure our body feels good to see what we're about to get ourselves into. But we probably spend 30 to 45 minutes working with some resistance and going through our exercises, but we want to make sure we spend probably 15 to 20 minutes, you know, again, on the ground, going through mobility, stretching, light cardio, whatever it may be, and kind of thinking about what we want to do today.
Yeah, and it's like the first question, how you feeling today?
Exactly. How's that body feel today? And that's why I kind of stay away from myself, is staying away from like long range programming. Because if I go into a workout and my body's not feeling what I programmed for me the day before, and I feel like I'm now getting off track from my program, then it kind of demotivates me. I'm like, okay, I can't do this today because my body doesn't feel right. But, you know, getting into the gym, I'm like, okay, my body feels good for squats. Let me do squats today. Or like, hey, my body doesn't feel good for squats. Let me deadlift. So I'm still doing lower body, but it's just a different modality. And that's why that's the way I like to program my workouts.
You go in with an intention that is broad, and you narrow in on it as you get there. And that's kind of, I'm assuming you do the same thing with your clientele, right?
Yeah, we have a generally like, okay, I want to make sure we're doing upper body day. So, and maybe if, you know, chest pressing or isn't right for them that day, we can try overhead pressing. This is still pressing motion with the upper body, but different modes. Or maybe, you know, they're not good with dumbbells today, but we can do bands. You know, there's so many ways to attack the body as we're working out. And, you know, one of our staple sayings that we always say is, you know, he knows exactly what I'm going to say. So there you say, strategies are many,
principles are few.
You know, strategies may change, but principles never do.
And there's a million ways to skin a cat. Right. So there's all those like sayings and things, but they have value, and they allow you to not be so rigid. You can't be super rigid. That's the biggest thing. Yeah.
And especially unless you're a competitor, or you're doing it for sport and you're in a competitive nature. That's where you really the dial in to be super strict about what you're doing, because you want to make sure you're not doing too much one thing that's going to affect you doing another thing the other day. When you are a super high at a competitive level, that's where you have to be really strict in your programming. But for a day-to-day average person, you know, whether you are going for a run one day or doing squats the next day or doing bench press or whatever it may be, maybe you squat 2 days in a row, right? The idea is just keeping that body moving, you know, get the heart rate up, get a sweat, you know, feel good. And that's all you really need to do from day to day. Again, unless you are a competitor and you have an actual goal in mind. Yeah. So
there's plenty of ways to make fitness and physical and aesthetic gains without being an absolute, you know, psychopath about it, in a sense, right? And it's way easier to maintain than it is to get. So especially, you know, I think a lot of people our age, they get into the working life and it just there's an absolute pitfall of health. It goes down a big rabbit hole.
I think that plays a big role in a lot of people mentally and physically for people that used to be athletes. Again, I was never an athlete for myself. I was always active. I actually grew up spending 10, 12 hours in front of a TV or in front of a computer playing video games, and I tell that to people are super surprised by that. But I was outside daily. Thankfully I grew up with probably a neighborhood full of 10, 15 kids, so playing sports outside was never a problem. I always had the people to do it. But I've seen, and I have had a lot of clients that used to be college athletes, high school athletes, and they've like, oh, I put on a couple weight since I stopped playing. And what it really comes down to is your daily activity plummeted as soon as you stop playing sports.
Yeah.
So your calorie expenditure went down, but you're still eating like an athlete,
yes.
right? And then again, that plays a big role physically now, because now you're gaining weight, but then you're also thinking about what you used to do, how you used to look, how you used to feel, and now you're super unmotivated, right? And you're doing this like self
comparison.
Exactly. So when you get back into the gym, you're like, okay, oh, now I can run it fast again, and you start coming over those hurdles, right? As you make that progress back to where you used to be, then you start getting motivated, because progress is motivation in a sense, and is addictive in a nature as well. And it's kind of hard to keep that going, because you do plateau. Everyone plateaus, and then you're like, okay, like I'm not losing pounds anymore. What do we like? I gotta change something. I gotta do something else. Or some people are just like, let me just stop. All right. So then we want to stay away from that as much as possible.
Yeah, no, the mental fortitude to take a hit every time you plateau. Most of the time, it's because of a lack of creativity. There's something that you don't know yet. There's something that you're not doing. There's something that you're not exploring. You're not aware of. That's how I've always viewed it. It's an opportunity to kind of grow and be like, okay, I'm missing a piece. There's a piece that I can insert. Maybe it's tempo training. Maybe it's something that is, mobility restrictive, right? Maybe there's so many different aspects from that end that people we're just so consumed with all the other stuff we have in a day-to-day life that we're not allowed to feel in tune with what we actually have for a body. What's our vessel? We're more in tune with how our car feels than how we feel, right? And I think that plays a big part, but it goes down to what we were talking about before, like balance. There's the balance of understanding when you can indulge, right, and when you can't. And you, painting a picture really quick, you grew up in
so I mean, this is a very not a hard question to answer. People are like, oh, were you born in Florida? I was like, no, I was born in California, but I moved here when I was about 3 years old. So like, oh, you must have loved California. I was like, I don't remember any of it. So raised South Florida, West Boca, so Boca Raton, the whole nine. People are like, oh, people compare Boca, like, oh, this and that. I'm like, I have nothing to really compare it to. I think it's okay.
It's all right. Yeah. It's funny when it's like people know it for a lot of different things. Up north where I'm from, people are like, oh wow, it's like super wealthy there. Friends are like, oh, that's where Drake always talks about in his songs. And like there's so many weird things that I didn't even know when I moved down here. And it's funny because that's really, I've lived in two other places, but I've spent 90% of my time in Boca because I've only worked in Boca. So all my clients are in Boca.
As we like to say, we live where you vacation.
Yes.
So people are like, oh, you must go to the beach all the time. I'm like, listen, I've been around the beach for 25 years. It's sandy. It's hot.
That's true.
It's like if you go to somewhere that has mountains, like, oh, you must be hiking all day. I'm like, listen, I spent a couple of years. It's the same mountain. Nothing's changed. I've been up there. I've been down it. Like, we can go if you want, but
I want to spend more time on the beach. But the reality is that you have clients during the times that,
Well, I mean, that's another thing about our profession is that we have to work when you're not. Everyone's at work from 9 to 5. That's when we're almost not working, depending on our days. So when people want to train at 6 p.m., that's when we're working. People want to train at 6 a.m., that's when we're working.
But the other thing is, in such an affluent area, you have people that don't work. So you have people that come in the middle of the day, or they're CEOs, so they decide when they do work, and they say, all right, I'm going to come in, work out at 12 or 1 or 2. So there's that aspect to it too. But no excuse to not take advantage of going to the beach more often. And when you live out west in Florida, if you live more than 15 minutes from the coast, you might as well be in Texas. Like, you're not even close.
The beach? That's a trip.
I don't know. That seems... The tough part, though, is that parking.
Yes.
You have to pay for everywhere that you park in Florida.
Unless you want to walk really decently far.
Yeah.
So...
And you walked to the beach this morning.
Yeah, we did. So, but I didn't. Yeah,
you don't step on the beach, right? That's the other thing. Is the road goes directly to the water. Like, you have
stairs.
Yeah, you have 50 feet of beach. Everything else is like, it's the city.
Yeah.
You're either in the city in downtown or you're in the water.
Mm-hmm.
There's no in between. That's the other thing that's so vastly different, because I grew up in Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
There, like, you know when you're getting to the beach. You smell.
You're like, oh wow, we're getting close.
You can smell the salt water from like miles away.
Yeah.
You can't. You have
no idea. That's how it used to be like when I was younger, because we'd come over the bridge and you could see the water for a split second. You're like, yeah, we're almost there. You're like, it starts turning into palm trees and like that's. But now it's
built up that much.
Yeah, it's different.
Crazy.
I mean, it's not like the beach was bigger, but like you could definitely tell, like, oh, we're almost there.
Yeah.
So you can come over that bridge, you can see the water, see the sand, you see some waves happening. Like, oh yeah. Then you get there and the sand's hot. And you're like, oh no. But we got to this conversation because we were talking about indulgences.
Yeah.
And one thing that I like to say is that the only way you don't get to where you're going is if you don't get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so whether some people, it's like, oh, I had a cookie, so if I had one, might as well have two, might as well have three, might as well just eat the whole bag, or whatever it may be. And I had one beer, so then you had 2 beers, or I had 3 beers. He's like, let me just drink the whole night because I already started. And which is, I mean, in itself is not inherently a huge deal in the big picture, right? It's what you do the next day, or say if that was Friday night, it's like, what are you gonna do Monday morning? Try not to let it go that long, right? But start kind of rebuilding yourself back up Sunday, get into the mindset that you're gonna get back on track on Monday, rather than like, oh, I was doing so well, but I fell off track. It was
one day leads to the next.
It was just so much work to maintain, and you're just like, so then you go into the spiral, and you're off track for 3 or 4 weeks, and then it's so much harder to get back on track, because then you try to go back into the gym or doing what you were doing and trying to go back to where you were when you're not there anymore.
Yeah. And that's a lot of it comes down to I think just the culture, right? Like, you're either all in or all out.
Mm-hmm.
Things are either right wing or left wing.
Mm-hmm.
Things are either black or white. There's such a lack of grayscale in like kind of how we go about things in a day-to-day life, especially from American like perspective. It's weird, and it translates to all of those things that for thousands of years it was just the normal thing. It was like there wasn't millions of options. I was actually, like I told you, I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, right? He was with John Mackey. Yeah, now I know, the CEO of Whole Foods. So Joe Rogan's talking. He's like, they went back and forth about, you have to cut the crap out of your diet. Most people are they're consuming high calorie, nutrient, less foods like all day, all the time. And it's more so, it's not necessarily the healthy foods that you're eating on the vegan end or the carnivore end or blah, 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 whatever in the middle, but it's more so just taking the bad stuff out. And then he said something really profound at the end. He said, this is the only time in history of anything where the poorest people are fat. And I was like, wow, that's actually super true. It used to be a lack of food because you had a lack of money, you couldn't afford food, and you were malnourished, and you got diseases because of that. But now the easy to get food is high calorie, low nutrition, low cost, and now
it's causing obesity, and now also causing health problems.
Yeah. Dude, 40%.
Yeah, no, it's
40% of the United States is obese. It's absurd. It's scary.
It is.
and it's some of it is just lack of education, some of it is just lack of aspiration and desire to change anything. And I don't know if that comes from like self-confidence, where people are experiencing a lot of negative talk from just a young age, like nature and nurture. They're growing up in bad environments, they have nobody to lead the way, and they end up just following that path as well.
Yeah, it's so hard to understand, when you see someone, and because it doesn't happen overnight.
Nothing.
You're like,
Nothing
whoa,
yeah.
And I'm 300 pounds today. That's crazy. Yes. When did this happen?
This isn't Santa Claus, right? He wakes up with the beard.
What happened? But I don't know if it's just, sometimes I feel like we are not honest with each other enough to be like, hey, Dylan, like, I'm concerned. Because when it comes down to when we talk about people that are overweight or obese or higher in weight, it's not coming from an area of like you need help. It's more so like, hey, I'm concerned about you, right? Like you're in a high risk, you now are in a high risk profile, right? You, depending on what you have going on life wise, again, whether now you're approaching age 40, 45, 50, high risk. If you have kids, you start thinking about their future as well. I mean, you could have a heart attack.
Literally like that,
and you could not be experiencing any heart problem or any problems in itself, but it could happen because you are in a high risk due to your weight. But I feel like, again, a lot of us are so tiptoeing around people's feelings and emotions rather than say, oh yeah, no, you're happy, that's fine, look, I'm so happy for you, and say, listen,
and that's what it comes back to. The accountability thing we were talking about before, and the biggest part is that individuals are looking for comfort more than they're looking for the truth and reality. And if you really think about it, it costs more in the long run to be unhealthy than it does upfront to be healthy. And I was having that conversation last night with somebody. Like, you're going to either pay to have a healthy diet and a healthy lifestyle up front, or learn, right? You're going to pay for an education to learn about that healthy lifestyle and how you can take care of yourself, or you're going to pay for it on the back end. If you're unhealthy, your insurance is higher. Your likelihood of being injured, much higher. Your likelihood of being ill and having medical bills, much higher. Your likelihood of getting cancer, diabetes, heart attack, all of those, much higher. And where does that, it puts you in a financial situation later in life that carries over to your kids. But the other thing at our age too is, if you're unhealthy and you're actually thinking of like, oh, this is a good time for me to have a kid, your genes, we know there's genes and there's epigenetics, right? There's genetics and epigenetics. Epigenetics is basically turning the gene on or off. It's either a good gene, bad gene, you turn it on or off depending on your lifestyle. So if you're living a crappy lifestyle, you decide to have a kid, all of those epigenetics are more likely to be stronger in your offspring. So now we're just bringing more unhealthy people into the world. We're giving them a worse, start. We're giving them a worse chance of being healthy and having to overcome those things. And it's crazy because you can get into all the nonsense of like, the food is genetically modified. That means they're changing the cells in the food, and then we're if you're consuming that food, that food is then becoming something that your cells are made out of. Then you are having offspring, and now their cells are made out of it's.
And it's crazy because another thing that we're talking about the food, if you look at today's youth population, middle schoolers, high schoolers, they're small, super small people, and we joke about, like, oh, they stopped putting steroids in the chicken. But there is some truth behind that. A lot more people are super conscious about where their meat comes from. Now they're buying organic and farm raised, and it's not the same chicken that we grew up eating. We had people in like 8th, 9th grade. I'm like, you look 35. Like, you have full beard. I'm looking for armpit hair. And you're like, I thought you were someone's dad. I mean, what do you mean, bro? Why are you in the same math class?
How many years have you been here, bro?
Hey, you're a third-time senior, aren't you? No, you're 12? Cool.
I was tiny in high school. Like, when I first got there, it was crazy. I was like, I'm playing on the basketball court or the football field with like full-grown 18-year-old men with kids, and I'm 13. I don't even weigh 100 pounds, soaking wet. I'm gonna look like that in 4 years. What?
No way.
I still don't look like that.
It's perpetually 18.
Oh, it's absolutely insane, dude. And it really does come down to, I think, there's the chances that you have of being grown into a good family or good environment and good accountability around you.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is the understanding that if you don't have that luxury, trying to create that as much as possible.
And sometimes you have to be the outlier in your surroundings. You got to notice, you got to kind of have some kind of, let's say, like visual or understanding or recognition of like, needs to change, right? Whether, you have parents that are unhealthy and you're like, you know what? This doesn't feel too good, right? And you might have that same understanding, like you can't change them. You can't, because you don't have any control over other people, but you can do something about yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's somewhere we can transition to is where we're talking about, people. This past year obviously has been a train wreck of a year. Some people, as we come into 2021, people are like, oh, I didn't make any new resolutions or I didn't make any new goals. I'm just gonna use the same ones from last year because obviously COVID and everything else ruined all my chances for me completing my goals. And
I got in the best shape of my life after COVID.
So people saying the pandemic's so long that they got in shape and out of shape.
Yeah. That's true.
In the grand scheme of things, the pandemic shouldn't have, whatever your goals it may be, and obviously it could have some effect on it, but it shouldn't have made you put a stop or put a hold on what you're trying to achieve. There's always some forward motion you can be doing. Obviously if you were like, oh, let me hold all these conferences this year where you're going, obviously you couldn't do that. You could have made sure you set up and planned or put some groundwork or blueprint work for those conferences and still made some forward motion. And with me saying that as well, I've heard countless amount of times is that, 2021 better be a good year because 2020 sucked. And I'm like, well, are you going to make it a good year or are you just going to sit back and see what happens?
The universe doesn't owe us anything.
No,
whatsoever.
Not so.
Especially all the shit that we do to it. There's no way that you can just expect things to be handed to you. Yeah.
And it's not like, again, we're not going to wake up one day and like, no COVID. That's crazy. And I'm going to toss my mask out and go about my day.
Oh, I don't need these anymore.
But it comes down to a question of what are you going to do to make 2021 a better year for yourself rather than waiting for it to be a good year on its own.
That's true. And it comes down to being comfortable with sitting down and having those thoughts, I think, because most people are so distracted, right? They're not even comfortable sitting down and having, a notebook or a planner and writing things down on a day-to-day basis or thinking, what do I want to do with this year? Yeah. Where would I like to be a year from now? Right. So I have an alarm that goes off every Sunday while we're working out, and Josh is like, Dylan,
9 a.m. They're not sleeping in.
Yeah, 9 a.m. There's two alarms actually. One is where are you going to be a year from now, and the other one is they're not taking days off, so why should I? And that, I mean, if you think about it, right, I always thought about like the bad guy in a movie. They're like, it's a movie, all right, but they're not like, they are, because there are things based on true stories as well, right? And they're so driven by what they think they're supposed to be doing every second and every hour and what their goal is, whether it's to freaking take over the world or whatever.
Yeah.
They are so driven by that nothing else is coming in the way. Like, it does not matter. I'm going to figure out that's an obstacle. I'm getting around it. That's an obstacle. I'm getting around it. They're not like, it's a Sunday. Let's have a lazy Sunday. Let's just, hang out.
Oh, shoot. Batman. Batman's here.
Yeah.
Never mind. I don't want to do this anymore. Let me find something else to do. I've seen how this goes.
Like the Joker.
Like, no, they still try to do what they need to do.
You know, there's always something that you can be doing to push forward. And going back to 2020, there wasn't, you know, maybe you couldn't work out as much. Maybe you couldn't work out on your squats,
Maybe,
right?
yeah.
But maybe you just decided, okay, well, I'm going to learn how to do some animal flow, right? And it's like you took a negative here of like not being able to progress your body in one way, and you said, well, I can progress my body in another way. I can find something else to do. Or I can work out twice per week as opposed to 6 times a week that I was after work, because I don't work there anymore, and the gym was right next to it. And
and like whether, again, just like that, you could have figured out another way to do it, but at the same time, maybe you weren't working as much. And when your excuse was that you didn't have time to work out, right?
Now you're given
when you were presented with that, you have 2 choices, right? Like, oh man, I have so much time to work out now, but the gyms are closed, so let me do nothing, right?
Yeah.
Or you lace up your shoes and you go outside, you go walk, right? You go run, right? You do some squats, you do some push-ups, you do some lunges. I think some, like, society or some people have this notion that you have to have these crazy workouts, you know, that elaborately planned or professionally planned workouts. You know, when Orange Theory closed, when GNO was closed, or whatever fitness studio you guys were working at or was closed, you're like, oh, I don't have my workouts anymore that they were giving me that were so awesome. You know, I don't know, like, what am I going to do? And you end up doing nothing. Like, you can literally do 10 push-ups, 10 lunges, 10 squats 5 times, and, you know, go for a run. And, you know, you do that 3 times a week. It's not anything crazy, but again, when you increase your daily activity, that's all we're looking to do is just move more.
Move more,
you know,
lubricate the joints, get the body. The body will tell the mind what to focus on, right? So the mind is and a lot of times it's basically pulled in any direction based upon what the body is feeling and sensing, right? So if the the body senses heat on your hand, right, like a fire, your mind goes there, everything else out of the way. If I had a itchy ear and Josh shot me in the foot, I wouldn't care about this, right? Those sorts of things, like when you get into the moment of working out, when you start to put yourself through something like that, your mind, everything else goes out of the way. And I don't think we do that enough either. Like when you reading does that for me. If you're reading a book, your mind is enveloped on those words. It's not worried about all these different things. When you're so quick to like pick up your phone and your watch buzzes and you're like,
oh, what was that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Again,
right.
I'm so here that I can't even hear it. I can't hear what people are saying anymore. You know, then your significant other, whoever's like, oh, you never listen.
Yeah.
Said you caught me for 30 seconds while I had my phone in my hand. I'm sorry.
No, it's true. We get distracted. There's endless amounts of things that you can do with your time. There's a limitless amount of opportunities, right? But this
shameless plug. In theory, there are a limitless amount of options in all 360 around you
to do with your life and time.
Oh my God. I'm not going to mention that. I just noticed that.
Are you serious? You never.
I never saw the L and T.
What?
You're a creative dude. You are a creative dude.
Wow.
I'm sold. You got stock options? I want to invest.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
You can invest your time. How about that? Invest your time.
I am shook.
This is amazing. Wow. What a...
I can't believe it. I've looked at this sign for over a year now.
You've seen it on
everywhere.
Like, I've got it on.
Never, not once. I was like, that's a weird cardiograph.
That person is dead.
I don't know what all that is, but that is.
Yeah. Wow. I guess I did a good job designing that. I guess
you did.
You're not the first person to say that, but the first person to be on the podcast and realize it, even though we hang out all the time. Yeah. All right. So
Anyway.
as we digress, time can be spent a million ways. Like literally, there's so many different things that we could do with our time. Sometimes, Josh poops for 20 minutes. Sometimes he poops for 5. Like
it depends on what I'm doing here.
Exactly. So in that time, is he being productive on his phone or is he not? Right.
Yeah.
There's so many different things you can do with your time. You can come home and think that you have to do the laundry. You can come home and think that you have to clean the something, right? In reality, you don't have to. You don't have to do any, like.
I was listening to a podcast, one of Marcus Philly podcasts, and he's like, "You're always presented with choices." It wasn't him talking; he had a guest on the show. I can't remember the name right now, but the guest was saying that you're always presented with choices. Whether it be like, "Oh, I need to do my homework." Well, you don't need to do your homework, right? But the repercussions of you not doing your homework is you fail in school, right? Again, you don't have to pass school, right? But it's like, okay, you want to pass school, so you want to do your homework, right? You want to make, again, when you change your verbiage of like, okay, I need to work out, and then it's it feels like more of a chore than rather something that you want to do. It's like, okay, well, you want to get in shape, right? So you want to work out, right? Or you want to get stronger, so you want to lift weights, right? And you're like, okay, now I want to do this, all right? Something that I'm doing on my own. There's no one's holding a gun to your head and saying you need to work out, right? That could be some good motivation, but but no one's forcing you to do it. No one is absolutely.
The repercussion is you die. Are you willing to take that chance? Are you willing to do that? I mean, there's situations where you are, like you said, always presented with things. Always.
You say like, oh, I need to take a shower. Well, you don't need to take a shower, but you might smell bad. You don't. There's absolutely nothing that you need to do, right? I need to go to work. You don't need to go to work, but you might get fired, and then you don't have any money, and you can't pay your bills.
Like I was like, I need to go get gas, and then we pulled in. I was like, I didn't have to go get gas. It would have been.
It would have been convenient to get gas now, because now when he gets in his cars later, he's like, I need to get gas.
Then I will have a higher need for gas, because otherwise my car will.
Hopefully he doesn't wait till the last minute to go to where he's going, like a client, and he's like, oh shoot, now I need to get gas, and he's late for his client. Maybe his client drops him, and then he doesn't get paid for that client. Now he's making less money, and then he can't afford rent, and then Dylan is homeless. And that's how it happens.
But I have money for an RV, so I buy an RV, and I drive across the country.
And then he needs more gas.
And he has no income.
But he has an
RV. So he sells the RV, and then he has money, but he doesn't have a place to live.
But he doesn't need gas.
But I could eat crappy food and have gas.
You know what? This is another thing that I thought about the other day as I was driving down the road, and I see people waiting for the bus. And then I realized how privileged my life has been to never have to use public transportation. I don't even know the bus schedule. If you told me, Josh, hey, take the bus downtown, I would not know which bus to get on. I would not know what time the bus is coming. I would not know when to get off the bus. But there's people, that have to, right? Not like they need to take they have to, because they don't have the privilege of having a car or knowing someone with a car that conveniently take them somewhere, and then they have to walk X amount from this place to their job or wherever they need to go, because the bus isn't going to drop them off in front of their building. All right, so like, okay, I get on this stop, I get off at this stop, and you got to walk, right? And you're carrying whatever stuff you're carrying. If you go to the grocery store and you have bags of groceries, then it's like another thought. I'm like, I never had to think about how many groceries I have because I'm driving to my apartment. People are like,
and
okay,
the time that it takes to go shopping and then walk.
They probably can't buy ice cream because they'll melt. Sorry. But like, could you imagine?
It's
like,
valid.
Like they're probably not buying ice cream because it will melt. Because you probably have family at home, your daughters or whatever else really want some ice cream. And you're like, God, I can't walk, 30 minutes and then present melted ice cream to my daughter who really wants it that day, or whatever it may be. But
and on the other, real quick, sorry to cut you off, but on the other end of the spectrum, there are people that are not willing to take the sacrifice, they may be in a place where, yeah, I have credit, I could buy a car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're looking at it, buying the car leads to what? Okay, it leads to having a monthly payment. All right, well, I'm not willing to do that. So I am willing to take the bus in order to not have to worry about a monthly payment, because in the long run, they want to purchase something else and they want to pay for it in cash.
No, yeah.
Right? So once again, there's 100 options within that little example right there, and it goes in both directions. It's hard to comprehend how you spend your time when you don't have a wide perspective of what all the opportunities are, what all the options are.
Because at the same time, those people that are riding the bus aren't wishing for a car.
Yeah.
They just understand, like, this is what we do. This is how my life flows, and I'm perfectly content. Being content in what you have. Again, as society, as it always becomes so greedy,
keep up with the Joneses. Yeah.
It's like, okay, I need this, I need that. I'm like, okay, I need a nice car because I want to look a certain way to certen populations. I have a nice watch, and I wear whatever it may be, such jewelry or clothing, such designer brands. But again, like, okay, well, how is that prioritizing in your life? Are you investing in these nice things, or are you investing in yourself? At the end of the day, are you being someone bigger, or are you presenting to be someone bigger, in a sense?
That's a valid way to look at it. Yeah. Are you putting on a facade?
Or if you look at, you look at some of the most successful, wealthy people in the world, like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and you look at Jeff Bezos, and you look at their attire, and you're like, oh, he wears the same thing every day, like a very simple plain white shirt and some jeans, not wearing any designer clothes, stuff like that. And it's like, because they understand that their money is best invested somewhere else, rather than just simple clothes that they just put on to cover yourself.
Yeah.
The big thing Jeff Bezos used to talk about is that he used to drive like a 1990 Honda for the longest time. Even when he's approaching becoming a billionaire, he still drove the same. I'm pretty sure he still owns the same Honda that he had. Like, Jeff, you have all this money.
Yeah.
Why don't you buy yourself a really nice car? He's like, does it drive me from here to there?
Yeah.
Does my car still drive me from here to there? Yeah. Why do I need XYZ when it's doing the job that it's intended to do?
One of our business partners in Market America, dude, she had done so many different things. She grew up in Philly, like a poor family. Name's Elizabeth Weber. She now is the number one money earner in the company. She earns over $125,000 a month, right? And she drove the same 1980 car forever. Like, she was doing thousands and thousands of dollars a month, and she was still driving that car, and she was showing up, and she was bringing people to meetings in her car. She's like, no, I'll pick you up, we'll go, just to make sure that everyone got there. And she was doing it. And it's like, are you willing to make the sacrifices in the right places? Every decision has a repercussion. Every level up has a, you have to spend your time somewhere, so you have to spend less time on something else. And that's what it comes down to. If you can understand to manage your time and say, okay, well, I have 5 minutes right here. I can sit on my phone for 5 minutes and get nothing accomplished in reality, or I can spend 5 minutes and do 6 different mobility exercises, or 30 squats and 20 push-ups, and be okay. Now I have my 5 minutes is done, and I can go get ready for work.
Yeah.
And that's where most people struggle, I think. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely struggle with it myself. I'm like, I could do this, and then I'm, on social media for 30 minutes when I'm like, okay, I was planning to go do something else more constructive, and I'm like, it's just so much easier.
It's a constant battle. Conversation.
To disconnect. I'm like, okay, I feel like it's a lot more work to sit down with a book rather than to pick up my phone, right? But I'm like, and then you find yourself looking at the highlight reel of people's lives on social media, and then you feel like you're not doing enough with yourself because you see everyone on a boat, at this hotel, on this beach, or whatever, because they're showing you a highlight reel of all the good things going on in their life, and you feel like that's their entire life. So
my highlight reel is mostly right here on my Instagram. It's just the podcast. It's the craziest thing, dude. How did you never see that? Wow. I guess his perspective was off.
Yo, he planned this. He said he didn't have a plan. He had a plan. He wore the shirt. He put the sign up.
The sign stays up. So does that one.
He put the L and the T in there years ago, knowing that I would
see the L and the T in that one.
Now I do. Right, I saw the F and the N and the E. Yeah. Fitness, nutrition, energy. I hope it stands for energy.
Economics.
Oh.
What a friend.
I guess the arrow makes more sense. I'm like, oh, wow, you really put the plateaus in there. Really trading sideways.
Really? Wow. I wonder where the energy's coming from. Yeah. And you like how the F is a pull-up bar?
I saw that. That's why I knew it was fitness.
Yeah. And then
the fork.
The N is a fork.
Yeah, that's why I knew how to do with eating.
I thought about these things.
Yeah,
for a while.
Economics with the.
Yeah. With the stock market.
Yeah. Now it makes more sense. Okay, after you said it.
Yeah. There's a rhyme and a reason for everything, man. Rhyme and a reason for everything. There's a reason.
It doesn't rhyme though.
Oh, I can rhyme. Remember, I do freestyle.
I'm the guest. He's gonna freestyle.
Yo, yippee, yippee.
No, stop. Because the people are gonna expect me to freestyle. Because for reasons,
Josh doesn't do that.
For reasons, not sure our audience, but
all right. What was your favorite game growing up?
Ooh.
All right. PS2 or original Xbox?
Well, I'm a PlayStation guy.
Okay.
Yeah, never had an Xbox. PlayStation.
You never had an Xbox?
Never had. I had friends that had Xboxes.
What?
Never had.
You
never cross. So like, if you had a PlayStation was out first.
That's true.
So like,
I remember the gray PS1.
Yeah, exactly. And they had the big ones, and they had the slim ones.
Yeah.
The ones that open up the top.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got that new slim PS2. I was the baddest. I was like, yo, this is.
I was like, what was all in the big PS2? Yeah. Because now we got this thing. Obviously, you guys
figured
your
something
efficiency.
out. Yeah.
No.
Right,
so
you're a PlayStation guy.
Yeah.
Favorite game.
Favorite game on PlayStation. I was a big SOCOM Navy SEALs, the third person shooter. When that came out, but I transitioned. I played a lot of RPGs. So EverQuest, I played Final Fantasy 11 on PlayStation 2. Still play it kind of sporadically.
Which one was that?
Final Fantasy 11. It was online.
Interesting.
I
haven't heard.
So
of
it just had its like 20th anniversary.
Sheesh.
And it's still alive and kicking with players and everything. But I played World of Warcraft for
I know that
15, however long since it released.
Damn.
But
my brother's huge Xbox guy. Halo, Call of Duty, all those things. That's kind of where I
was doing Call of Duty. I got my PS3, Modern Warfare. I was huge on. People knew me like in school by my tag name, like, without even knowing me. Even like teachers called me out, and I'm like, yo, people in third period are talking about you. And I was like, what?
I was talking about Josh. Or were they talking about?
My name is Black Ghost.
Black Ghost,
which I got so much shit for online. Like, how could you be a ghost and black? Like, or you shadow? Or I'm like, bro, I'm gonna kill you so hard.
Teabag him after. John's totally a teabagger too.
Sometimes.
I remember playing like Zelda and shit on old school systems.
Very, very impulse buy was a Nintendo Switch like 3-4 years ago. For Breath of the Wild Zelda. I played it nonstop until I beat it, and then I put it down, and I probably haven't touched my Switch since. So my biggest impulse buy.
My brother always modded the system, so he modded the Wii, he modded the Xbox, so he had anything and everything. He was
I was a big when I had an iPhone, a big jailbreaking guy.
Oh yeah.
I did that. And I have little pop-up text messages on my iPhone phone. Like, how do you get that? I said it's secret.
Yeah. That's crazy. Jailbreaking.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Got all the
He's a thug.
Oh. I'm like more like Edward Snowden kind of person.
Dude, I never knew that story until I watched that movie.
Yeah.
That movie
That's wild.
Yeah, dude, so cool. So cool.
And there's people like, it's crazy to think that there's people out there like that. Like, it's unsafe.
It really is.
People are watching us on our webcam.
I know.
Right now.
I mean, I kind of feel uneasy.
I
don't know about you.
Some people like laugh at people that like put little tape over their cameras, but I mean, obviously, I'm like, why is the FBI or whoever want to look at me? I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, that's how I.
It's like if they want to see me on my computer, that's all you got. Yeah.
No, that's true.
But
there is.
It is possible.
Once you have enough pull in the world, then there's maybe concern.
Yeah, I will say if you like work from home for a company and you use a company laptop, the IT guys could tap into your work laptop or whatever else. So if you're working from home in an indecent nature, I'd be more careful. Yeah,
valid point. Valid point. And if your significant other is an IT junkie, then and you're doing some stuff that nobody needs to know about,
close your laptop.
Cover it, close it. Yep. That's for sure. That's for sure. For years, I had mine covered, and it was with a little cutout of a sticky note, and it just so it stuck on there.
Yeah.
Enough, but it really ruins the quality of the camera.
Yeah.
So,
they make little clips now that just these clip-ons to top.
Yeah, that's a good point. I can do that.
There's a market for it.
There's a market for everything. It's crazy.
Or you could just have it hang over, like a little post-it hang over it.
Yeah,
rather than cover it.
See, Josh,
rather than put like the residue.
See, I could think of this, but I couldn't think of that.
Sometimes you just need a different perspective.
Oh my goodness, he read it backwards.
He went perspectives.
Yeah,
no. It's like when you're doing a puzzle though, and
you need another eye,
and you can't and someone walks up like, yeah, that's it. You didn't know that goes right there. I was like, oh my god,
That's true. I haven't done I did a puzzle on Thanksgiving with my niece.
Whole puzzle?
Yeah, it was a whole puzzle.
Like how many pieces?
It was like probably 200. Yeah, it was Pokemon.
Me and my mom would knock out like 1,000, 1,500 puzzle piece or piece puzzles in like 2-3 days.
Damn.
It would just and then she would like Mosh Podge it.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it stays together, and then some of them we put in like picture frames around the house.
That's really cool.
And which ones they are, and you can't realize it's a puzzle until you get close. Like, oh, this is a puzzle.
That's creative.
But we'll knock out like 1,000-piece puzzle in like 2-3 days. It's on the kitchen counter and you just walk by, do a couple pieces, and go about your day. Or we'll sit down there for like hours, just like knocking out. She'll do the whole edges, and then I come in. I'm like, I'm banging out the middle. I was like, let me know when you're done with the outside. It's like I can work my way in, but
that's funny. I was more of a card game person growing up. We played cards a lot as a family. We never did a lot.
Because you had a basement.
Yeah,
I feel like cards and basements go together.
Yeah,
Florida don't have basements.
Yeah,
so we don't have cards.
That's true. That's true. We also went camping a lot, so cards was common there.
Never went camping.
Never went camping.
No, not even glamping.
What's glamping?
Glorious camping.
Glorious camping.
Or glamorous camping.
Yeah.
I guess is.
So I mean, we started in tents, and then we had like a little 9-foot camper. And then we had.
So you said you started in tents, but like I heard it started in tents. I don't know what kind of card you play, war?
You thought we were talking about cards still, like intense games? No. No. I started with Goldfish. I used to play Memory with my grandmother a lot. But that's about it. What else from so you have one brother?
One older brother, one older sister.
One older sister.
Yeah.
Your parents are still together?
Yes.
Still together?
Yeah.
They still live in Boca?
Yes.
Did you ever travel at all?
Not a large amount. Like my mom's from Jamaica, so I went and my dad's from Antigua, so we would go to the different islands every other summer, just visiting family back and forth. Every other summer would switch. Other than that, no huge travel. I mean, I've been to Colorado a couple times because my best friend went up there for school and he's now living out there. But probably should do more traveling, but it's hard. It's easy but hard at the same time.
Mm-hmm. There's a push and pull when you are the accountability person for so many people, right? As a fit pro, and the job is almost never over in a sense, right? It's a constant thing. On top of the fact that you went to school, you have student loans, so
I worked 2-3 jobs at a time to pay myself through school. Luckily, so no debt.
That's huge. You went to
Palm Beach State for 2 years, FAU for 2 years. Now doing my EMT back at Palm Beach State.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. And I went the 5-year private school route.
Yeah, student loans.
Yeah, a lot of student loans. But dude, do you really think they're gonna cancel some of these student loans?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get too political on the LT360. But
there's no P in there. There's no political side to this brand whatsoever.
I looked heavily now. I looked in depth at multiple different logos where this is posted in this room. There's no P. But every time I open up my phone and check the news articles, I see that Biden has another executive order trying to be pushed through. I was like, wow, this guy has been busy. It's been 5 days.
Talk about spending your time. This guy is not wasting any of it.
But maybe. I mean, anything's possible. He's only trying to forgive. I mean, obviously, $10,000 for all the students is a ton of money. But $10,000 for some students isn't.
Theoretically, the money's made up anyways.
Yeah. Print it. but someone that has a $200,000 student loan, $10,000 is like, okay, thanks, still. Scratch on the back a little bit, but he's still so much in debt.
So that would be about a fifth of mine. So that would tackle a
huge percentage. But I don't know. Anything is possible.
Anything helps too. So. What do you think? You think we're getting $1,400 stimulus checks?
Probably not $1,400. I can see us getting another $600 to match the other $1,200 we originally got, but maybe not.
Not the $1,400 to get the $2,000 that we were originally promised.
Well, mentioned.
Yeah. Valid. There's so many things.
They threw so many numbers out there. It's like, let's give them $2,000 a month for 6 months. I'm like, I like that one.
That one looks good.
I don't know the repercussions.
Yeah,
but I like that one.
The ramifications. Yeah.
So
the whole country's gonna have taxes like California.
So a lot of things happening. I mean,
crazy.
People were making more money on unemployment than they were when they were employed.
So why go get a job?
Yeah.
No, I know people that they were doing.
Some people have actually quit their jobs so they can get unemployment because it was better.
Like, or they get themselves fired. So like, no, you're fired. All right. Cool, thanks.
So I can get unemployment now, right?
Files tomorrow.
They're handing out money.
They're putting it on a platter.
It was like $500 a week.
Yeah,
something ridiculous like that.
It's crazy. Which is, we worked through the pandemic and we didn't get that. Yeah. All right. Favorite movie?
Ooh. I like the Fast and the Furious movies. Specifically 1, 2, and Tokyo Drift. No one really likes Tokyo Drift, but
dude, no, Tokyo Drift is the best one. In my opinion.
It depends on how I like
culture,
how well you're following the story. Because when it came out, it didn't make sense. Like, where does this have to do with anything? Mm-hmm. And they threw Vin Diesel and at the end, you're like, well, why is Vin Diesel in Tokyo? Mm-hmm. But other than
which is from a production standpoint, that's just mind blowing. To think that they had that movie made way before, and then the reasoning why came out 3 movies later.
Yeah, I don't know if that was planned or just like, we'll figure this out as we go, but let's do like a Tokyo. Like, even nowadays, like when I see cars with like the underglow lights, I'm like, that shit's dope.
Yes. And it's funny because the first, two are there. I mean, the first one is the second one, Too Fast Too Furious. Sorry, is all Miami. So like when I moved down here, that was like.
What you expected?
Yeah, I was just like envisioning that for the longest
time. You're gonna see Ludacris racing the jet skis.
I was like, yo, where is that spot? I'm trying to go.
Yeah, that looked dope.
That did look dope. That was on the Intercoastal. Had to be, right?
I don't know.
Were they racing jet skis?
Can't be racing jet skis on Intercoastal. It's a no-wake zone.
Lake Boca is an Intercoastal.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe there's a spot like that.
Either way. What other movies? I'm trying to think.
Transformers,
good. Obviously, Marvel movies. Big Spider. I like Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was really good. And obviously, Tom Holland's doing like a super badass job. But Andrew Garfield did an awesome job with Spider-Man as well. Shout out to Andrew Garfield in case you see this. I'm a fan. I'm a big Zac Efron fan as well. Almost anything. I watched The Greatest Showman last night for the first time. A little late on it, but I liked it.
Have you seen Down to Earth?
Yeah,
I think
I mentioned it to you.
Yeah, you actually the one who told me about it.
But Zephron, shout out if you're watching this too on LT360.
Mm-hmm. Yo, Zach, I got the Darren Olian book only because I watched Down to Earth, and Darren, appreciate you, bro. Zach, appreciate you.
Hashtag Zac Efron. Hashtag Zephron. Zac Efron. Zephron.
I watched 17 again 2 weeks ago. Great one.
He's super talented.
Yeah.
And like he's like a Disney star that didn't go down south.
Yes.
Because Disney, I don't know what Disney's doing. I don't know what Disney's doing to people, but not great. Someone should look into that.
Yeah. Now there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of speculation that some of the recent presidential families are involved in all that
whatever it may be. Hashtag shout out Demi Lovato if you're watching this on the LT360. Miley Cyrus.
Were you a Zach and Cody fan?
Well, I mean, I watched it. I think they made it up pretty good. Yeah. Zach, Cody.
It's getting ridiculous.
But Zac Efron is still number one. So if you see this,
Josh 100% wants to be in a musical. Without a doubt, High School Musical.
If there's a High School Musical 17, or whatever you guys number you on. Well, only if Zac Efron's casting.
Only if, yeah.
If you want, like, what was it? Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates?
What? I don't know that.
With Zac Efron and the guy from whatever. I can't remember the name. It's super hilarious. But
you lost me.
If we want to do like a Zach and Josh Need Wedding Dates.
Guy, Josh Matthews, Boca Raton, Florida. Yeah. Hit him up. Inverted Josh on Instagram.
Inverted _ on Instagram.
Yeah.
Zac Efron calling you out. You guys want to do like what is it? Baywatch or what was it?
Yeah, Baywatch.
Baywatch, The Rock. Shout out Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Huge motivation. Huge inspiration.
I woke up at 3 a.m. plus 3 hours this morning. And it was...
So if The Rock, if you're watching,
yo, I did have a massive platter of sushi for dinner last night.
Hold on, you're messing up my shout out to The Rock.
Yeah,
The Rock. Zach, if you guys want to do a Baywatch 2, you need an extra.
Dude, I mean, you guys filmed in a Deerfield. 3 minutes away.
Right down the street.
Flex for him real quick, or maybe show him the quads. Yeah.
I got my tights on.
Yeah. New tights.
New tights. One day you'll catch me. I'll get a red Speedo.
He's Quadzilla. This guy. Yeah. large and in charge over there.
So I'll go on the whole like keto diet with you, Zach, if we're doing that again.
Actually, fun fact, I know the guy that trained Zac Efron for
really?
Baywatch. Yeah.
He said he was miserable during that time.
Yeah, he said he was so mad. He's like, I absolutely hate this. This is not how anybody should live.
But you did look spray painted, so good work.
Well, yeah, it was definitely an insane transformation. Yeah, wild stuff.
And then The Rock, if you want to, if I can come visit you at the Iron Paradise, that'd be super awesome as well. I'll wear a mask if I have to.
If I have to. Dude, yeah, I ate a massive platter of sushi last night for dinner.
Did you also have 40 pancakes?
I only had 39.
You're not there yet.
Okay. Dude, how many calories does he eat on a day?
On a day, I think like 5K.
Oh, that's not bad.
I think.
That's not terrible.
He eats like 5-6 pounds of like salmon or like some Alaskan cod a day. Yeah. I'm like, where are you getting all this fish from?
Who is catching all these fish for you?
You are running to the market and try, Wayne. All right.
Yeah, seriously, man. That's why I'm excited for these elk and bison burgers, dude. The quality of the meat is so unreal. Like, I gave him some bison jerky earlier. I get it from an online website. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah. It's super high quality, so it's called grasslandmeats.com or US Wellness Meats, and everything is 100% grass-fed, organic, pasture raised, all that.
Someone, Rich Froning came and made a jerky company.
Interesting.
Because he has like a farm. I don't know where he has a jerky from, but he has a farm. I forgot what it's called. Shout out to Rich Froning, world's fittest man, like 4 or 5, can't remember in the row. Watched a lot of your videos, super inspirational as well.
Yeah, all right. So, where do you find most of your motivation from?
Ooh,
people. We're talking about Marcus Philly.
Marcus Philly I love his content. Shout out Marcus Philly. Yeah. I love his content. I'm on his email list. Love his workouts. Love his creativity. Watch his post. Done a couple of his programs, but he's super awesome, and I feel like super relatable. Mm-hmm.
His story is pretty interesting.
Yeah, and there's some his approach is not so much like ground and pound and stuff. It's like, okay, like listen, because he used to be a CrossFit competitor as well. He's done all that stuff. I think he competed bodybuilding, or maybe not competed bodybuilding, but he did bodybuilding training for a while as well. But now he's like, listen, I'm in a different place in life. Like let me still kind of maintain my aesthetics, but also feel good doing it. So his podcast is Look Good, Move Well. And that's kind of like the background of all his training theories. Like, listen, all right, we don't need to be killing ourselves in the gym, but we want to kind of have a sustainable workouts that really like I'll feel good going in every day and feeling accomplished and still making my goals, whether it's weight loss, whether it's muscle gain, whether it's increasing your cardiovascular health, or increasing your Olympic list, whatever it may be. Everything that you're looking to achieve is still possible without the burnout. Mm-hmm. So his stuff is really awesome. Outside of him, I'm always looking like a lot of mobility videos through like on Instagram, so interesting stuff that I can incorporate in my day to day.
Who's that guy?
With the beard, or the other guy?
There's a beard. What's his name? He's like the bearded man or something. I don't know. You should probably have these locked in.
Well, this wasn't planned, right? I didn't even know you were going to ask me this question.
Valid.
No, other than that, I mean, watching, you have been going to YouTube and typing motivational videos, but a lot of the mindsets of successful athletes, successful business people. So you're looking at, Kobe Bryant, RIP, his mindset was super different than everyone else's. That's how he was able to play at such a high level. Yeah. You're looking at, Mark Wahlberg, you're looking at, The Rock, you're looking at all these people,
Conor McGregor,
again, different mindsets, and, they're performing at such a high athlete, but they're
Joe
also
Rogan does some too.
You're looking at people that just think differently and perform differently than everyone else. And, these are the people that are up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever it may be, just because,
But more importantly, they're going to sleep early. They're not doing all the bullshit,
sometimes
that most people are doing.
When you're living such a high lifestyle.
But it's a high priority, I should say, for them. Right. So, the priority isn't, I need to go out with my friends tonight.
But when you're working on
kind of shit is that?
Someone like Kevin, I highly doubt Kevin Hart gets 8 hours of sleep. There's no way. Mm-hmm. Kevin Hart, if you see this and you're getting 8 hours of sleep, DM me. I want to know. Show me your Apple Watch that shows 8 hours. If you're out there doing, stand-up comedy, being a producer, getting your fitness in, having time for your family, and getting 8 hours of sleep, I want to do whatever you're doing.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it comes down to that constant conversation and conscious awareness of like, how am I going to spend my time? Mm-hmm. And when you get home, do you have to do this, or do you prioritize, I'm going to bed because I need to be aware of tomorrow, and I need to wake up with a little bit of drive. And if I wake up with drive, I can probably get that thing that I needed to get done before bed done right when I wake up.
Mhm.
There's always that
So,
possibility too.
yeah, there's so many time sinks in your day that are not needed, and
Mhm.
you like take a look. I mean, say like if take a journal and like write down like okay, before you go to bed, like how did I spend my day? Whether it's even like on your phone, because again, it's easy and convenient to have your phone right there. Like okay, I woke up at this time. What time did you make breakfast, or what time did you leave for work? You know, what did you do? Think about what you do in between that time. How did you spend your lunch at work? Was it just eating? Did you take your whole hour, half hour to eat? Well, how your time in between your free time spent at lunch at work, or when you got home? You know, when you get home at 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, what did you do from the time you got home to the time you went to bed? Did you spend 30 minutes on the couch, like relaxing? Did you spend an hour watching a show? Did you catch up on The Bachelor, or whatever it may be? You know, like, or and then you take that list, like, okay, what can I change out for something that's going to help me improve my day to day? Right? Now, maybe I don't need to watch The Bachelor. All right? Maybe I can binge on The Bachelor on a Saturday and be more active during the week. You know, instead of watching it, spending an hour of the day throughout Monday through Friday, and because once you sit down and watch TV, you're not getting
It's
back
hard
up.
to get up.
Right? So
So
and
hard.
1 hour turns into 2 hours. And you're like, okay,
Uh-huh.
let me be a little bit more relaxing on myself on a Sunday, get caught up on my shows, but then really be main or focused and focused on myself throughout the week. So
I think it comes down to identifying your vices. Like we all have vices,
Mhm.
right? Identify them, see where they can fit in, and not throw you off of your entire plan for a bigger picture and a better vision. And then also uh, considering the fact that we're talking about spending time again. Just be comfortable with understanding what you have to sacrifice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is every Friday, Saturday, as I'm leaving work, and people are like, "What are you doing tonight?" I said, "Nothing." Like, I'm going home and I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're not gonna go downtown? I'm like, no, I'm not. Because you know why? Because I have to wake up tomorrow at 6:30 to be at the gym at 7 to meet this guy, and that's my sacrifice. I could go out, have drinks and whatever else, and not make it to my workout, and I could be sacrificing on the other end. I could have indulged in then, but I know, like, hey, I already told myself I'm going to the gym on Sunday. I'm going to the gym on Sunday. Nothing's going to get in the way of that. So having a plan is also super huge in getting what you need done. Write down what you want to do for a day. I know I want to get this done. Because when you write it down and set it forward for yourself, you're more likely. We're like, okay, if I have time, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you say that, you're not going to make time. You're just going to wait for there to be time. Right. Like, okay, at 3 o'clock, I'm got to go to the bank to do this, or I got to go to the grocery store to get this. Like, okay, it's in my schedule. It's there. It's going to happen at a time. I know I have free time during that space. There's nothing else during that time. That's a time for me to do what I have planned to get done.
If you're willing to wake up super early to go to work and be there for somebody else, then why are you not willing to wake up early and do something good for yourself? Like that's first and foremost. It makes it that simple. If you
And then no, because I'm glad you said that, because it's something I repeat in my mind over and over again, is that if you snooze your alarm and still make it to work on time, you work harder for other people than you were willing to work for yourself. Right? And if you think about that again, if you snooze your alarm, because you set your alarm at a certain time of the day, right, in the morning, for you to get up because you have a plan for yourself, make a nice breakfast or whatever else in the morning, right? You snooze that, you canceled out 10 minutes of your morning that was planned for yourself, but you still make it to work on time for your employer or for your client, whatever it may be. So you're willing to sacrifice your time to make it so you can spend your full time and attention for them. Right?
You're not getting the things that you want to do. Maybe you don't meditate. Maybe you don't cook a good breakfast. Maybe you don't stretch. Maybe you don't do a 5-minute, squat, push up, dip workout before you go to work. Then you're not prioritizing your goals as much as you are theirs. And that's tough. It's a hard place to move forward from, because if you're not holding yourself accountable, you're not seeing the value in your life and your quality of life. You're not seeing the value of your possibilities more than the value of someone else giving you a paycheck. Then you have some serious digging to do to figure out like what's your passion, what's your why, how are you going to push forward, how are you going to make the proper sacrifices to have the influence that you want, not only on your life but the other people around you. Right, like every decision impacts your future impacts or your future decisions, and every impact gives someone the opportunity to follow that suit. So the guy who ran the 4-minute mile, he decided to do that, and that allowed someone else to then, oh, that's possible, and then boom, meet him, knowing that he's going to be there this morning at the gym. Allowed me to be like, all right, if he woke up and did it, I'm going to wake up and do it.
He also knows he's going to get a butt ton of shit.
Yeah.
If he doesn't show up.
Yeah, that as well. But that's good. That's the accountability
that's the drawback.
part of it. Yeah. That's the accountability part of it.
And talking about the guy with the format, I think I don't know who, you might know, it might have been you, but I saw someone post. It was like a saying from Usain Bolt. He's like, I trained 4 years for 9 seconds, and people quit after 2 months after not seeing progress.
That's a good one. I like that. And to bring it full circle, like the easiest understanding of like how I spend my time, I'm not even joking, 90% of the videos that I post on Instagram are done while I'm sitting on the toilet. Like
What is he doing?
I edit the videos while
I'm he just posted.
I edit the videos while I sit on, like, it's quote unquote wasted time, but
some people say like the easiest way to get through a book is just have it in your bathroom. Don't bring your phone in the bathroom. When you're sitting there, like I'm pretty sure everyone that sits on the toilet looks for something to read. Because when you forget your phone, you're reading like toothpaste bottles. You gotta read something while you're sitting there. So like, put a little book in there. It's all like, oh, book, and you just read a page or two, 3 pages, right? And then by the time your business is done and you made progress on that book.
Yeah, and I do that. I have this stack of books right here. I read 2 to 3 pages a night, and I fall asleep. I usually fall asleep with it, like,
what page am I?
And I end up I close it, I put it off to my side, I turn, the lamp off, and I'm right back asleep, out like a light. It puts me to sleep too. It's a good thing. It's just a matter of not getting caught up in the minute things. I think having patience, looking long term, all that stuff is important.
Yeah. So,
you have any questions for me?
I do not. Right now, I do not.
No, not a single question.
What was the first sport you played?
Organized.
Yeah, like sport teams, organized team sport, like school, whatever, or league.
I think it was either hockey or baseball. It was probably baseball, because I started playing when I was 4 and 5. Like I went to I was on a team at that point.
What position did you play in baseball? Not when you first started, because you were
when I was 4, I played.
I was the pitcher.
AKA I stood on the mound.
Yeah.
And some adult threw the ball. Actually, no, there wasn't even throwing. You hit off a tee. Fun fact though, because they have when you're in the majors, you're like 10 to 12. When you're in AAA, you're like 7 to 10. Okay. And then in the AA, you're like 5 to 7, right? So
you were playing in the majors when you were 5?
No. When I was when I was 8, I played in the majors. But when I was in AA and there was playing someone that was like actually good enough to not hit off the tee, so you could throw the ball to him. I threw a spitball. I was like, because I played so much of the backyard baseball on the computer, that I thought it was like a real effect that it had on the ball. Yeah, I got some slack caught some slack after that one.
Why did you, Dylan? Did you spit on the ball?
My dad. That was his question. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, why?
That would not fly with COVID.
First of all, why? And then second, don't do that again.
Yeah, pretty much. What was your other question? What position?
Yeah, well, like when you're high school or when you're old enough to have positions.
Yeah, no. So I by the time
I was first baseman.
I was just kind of well-rounded in a sort. So I was a pitcher, I was a catcher, I played shortstop, second base, and outfield. But then as it started to like narrow in, I started to play like second base, pitcher, catcher. Middle school, I started in the outfield. High school, I didn't play until I was a senior. I was just a pitcher because basically I wanted to focus entirely on basketball. And it ended up that my best friends, all my friends played baseball. They were all on the baseball team. My best friend was the catcher. So it was like springtime. We were just messing around in the gym after school before they had practice. And I was like, oh, I haven't done this in a while. And I'm throwing to my best friend, who we also played football together, and he was the center for the football team. So shout out Matt if you're listening. And he and basically, so Matt was catching, and I'm sitting there throwing, and the baseball coach walks in, and he's like, "Are you serious? You didn't tell me that you could throw like that?" Because it was just like,
he's got a golden arm.
Yeah. And by the end of the season, I threw my arm out. Yeah, so that was fun. But that was it. That was, yeah, I batted twice that season. That was it. And I played first in a game where we had ran out of pitchers, and we had like this crazy scenario. We were playing a doubleheader. Someone got hurt, blah, blah, blah. I ended up playing first base.
First base is like really like an important position, isn't it?
Very tough position. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like,
you got to be flexible. You got to be
reactive. Very reactive,
and you have to.
Cause like majority of the time the ball is coming towards you after a hit.
Yeah. All the time. Yeah. It's getting thrown to you, and not always in the best way.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
All right. Last question before we close out. If you had to do one exercise.
Ooh.
Right. Say you had to do a one exercise workout. What exercise would it be?
One exercise workout. It would probably be a Turkish get up.
Ooh. I was thinking the same thing. Like at first I said deadlift. I'm like, no, Turkish get up. It's more full body.
Yeah, more full body. Yeah. And it integrates different movement patterns. Yeah, it's not so sagittal.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Yeah. Guys, thank you for listening.
We can honestly go on for
forever. We're going to go make some burgers and enjoy some food, and it's beautiful out. Hopefully it's beautiful wherever you're listening from. Tell them where to follow you for a good time.
Because, for a good time or for... so if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it's inverted, like being upside down, _Josh. Don't post that often, but when I do, some good content.
More stories.
Yeah, I used to post my workouts daily. So if you're ever interested, seeing what we do, we're in the gym. If I see some followers pop up, I'm probably motivated to start posting again. If not, I won't do it. Do we say like, comment, and subscribe here?
Yeah, yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, and share.
If you wanna support us, like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Again, we could talk about all day, so maybe there's a part 2 somewhere.
For sure.
Other than that,
thank you, bro.
Thanks for having me.
First podcast, killed it. Bam.
Natural. Zac Efron, don't forget.
Yes, Zac Efron, don't forget. And until next time, be limitless. Peace out. What's up, LT Tribe? DFOS here, just to express my gratitude and say thank you for tuning in and continuously commenting, liking, sharing, and subscribing to the episodes and the content that we are bringing you. It is helping so much. once again, want to say thank you and hope you have a great rest of your day. What's up, Limitless Theory Tribe? Hope you enjoyed the episode. I wanted to take a second to give you an opportunity to save 10% off on anything in the Limitless Theory apparel store. Everything from beach towels to coffee mugs, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and tank tops, and much, much more. New styles rolling out all the time. Use code LT10 at checkout for 10% off. LT10 at checkout, all capitalized, for 10% off anything Limitless Theory apparel related. And all you have to do is take a picture and tag us so that you can get 10% off again next time. Peace. DFOS here. I know y'all understand how much of a nutrition freak I am. And when I heard the world's most nutrient-dense food, you know I had to tune in, listen, and get learned. So I need y'all to check out the LT360 podcast I did with Catherine Arnston, the founder of Energy Bits, an algae-based nutrition company. It is not a supplement, it is a one-ingredient superfood, and it is recognized as the most nutrient-dense food on the planet by the World Health Organization and others. So go check out energybits.com and make sure to use the discount code Limitless Theory at checkout for 20% off. You will not be disappointed because you will have the most nutrient-dense food in your pantry in the world. Go check it out now. Peace. DFOS here. If you're anything like me, you love free 99. That's why I want you to head over to thelimitlesstheory.com/free. I dedicated this portion of my website to specifically give you free tips, tricks, resources to check out and use for free, and also give you an opportunity to support other small local business owners like myself who have often already been on my podcast and you may already know. So head over to thelimitlesstheory.com/free to see what free 99 can do for you. DFOS here to tell you about my new favorite kitchen appliance, and no, it is not a pan or even a utensil, but instead it is my new Pure H2O water filter. It sits behind my kitchen sink. It removes up to 97% of chlorine from my tap water and 77 other contaminants. We know that our bodies are made up of 72% water, and there is a strong connection between the quality of the water that we intake and the quality and longevity of our life. So we have to make sure it is the cleanest and purest water we can get. With Pure H2O, I know that every time I turn my sink on, I'm getting the best and cleanest water possible. So if you want to learn more, head over to thelimitlesstheory.com/shop and you can learn more about Pure H2O. I'm sure you will not be disappointed. Adios. DFOS here with another important sponsor. This one is awesome. It is a way to get high quality meat delivered straight to your door by Bristelli's Meat Market. It was established in 1976. They are now a global leader in the highest quality meat. And it is awesome. If you are an unfranchised owner like myself, you can earn anywhere from 22 to 27.5% IBV on your orders. And if you are a customer through shop.com/limitless theory, you can also earn cash back every time you buy your high quality meats for you and your family. Not only can you get filet mignon and burgers and chicken, but you can also get salmon and tuna and shrimp, and even a combination of regular meat and seafood. So make sure to check out Bristelli's, but most of all, check out shop.com/limitless theory to learn more.